And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but firstly, absolutely congratulations to McLaren on finally, since 1998, it has been quite a few years. I'm telling you, I was there when Mika Häkkinen won the World Championship, when McLaren won the Constructors in 98, and it's been pretty much barren desert of Constructors' Championships, at least, since then. So congratulations, McLaren. Congratulations, Lando Norris, on an amazing race. Congratulations, Lewis Hamilton, on his career with Mercedes. We'll get into all of that in a bit. As I was saying, a massive congratulations to McLaren. There you can see David Coulthard, Mika Häkkinen, let's be fair, inarguably one of the best McLaren liveries going, but this one is almost as sexy, I think. With Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, what a race we had. I mean, it started off slightly controversially, which we'll get into, with Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri having a little love tap between the two of them. But this is the scenes after the race. This is Zac Brown holding the trophy. As you can see, it's absolutely fantastic. They are so happy, look at them. It's just brilliant. It's just, it's been that long, and look at that. Handing the trophy to one of the I imagine one of the mechanics or something. All of that, absolutely fantastic. I mean, you couldn't wish more. This team deserves it. Where they come from, all the way in 2023, one of the slowest cars at the beginning of that year, to now make it as the 2024 World Constructors Champions. McLaren, absolutely fantastic. Here are the scenes. Here are the scenes in the McLaren Technology Centre, and they all watched it in their cinema. And it's just brilliant, isn't it? 2024 Constructors Champions. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy for McLaren. I mean, yes, papaya rules. Absolutely. This is still going on as well. And here it is. And this even scenes at the race were equally fantastic. Here we go with the Ferrari team and the McLaren team. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, when was the last time you saw anything like this? It's amazing. All giving hugs. Really good sportsmanship. I mean, after that first corner with Piastri going out, Ferrari had a very realistic chance of becoming the Constructors' World Champion. But Lando Norris held on, in spite of what must have been all of that pressure on poor Lando. He did it. McLaren, Constructors' World Champions. Absolutely fantastic. But let's talk about that dramatic start. Max Verstappen was given a 10-second penalty after an incident with Oscar Piastri. The Aussie then received the same punishment for hitting the back of Colapinto, sadly. But yeah, that was the start of the race, where Max Verstappen, inside of Oscar Piastri, bit of a chance, really. I don't want to say desperate, but very much a chance to lunge. Typical Verstappen move. Oscar Piastri didn't get out of the way. I don't think he even saw Max, and he spun both of them around. A move that Verstappen didn't need to do, but a classic Verstappen move nonetheless, and the world champion was found wanting. And speaking of world champions, arguably the best radio call of the year. Yep, move of a world champion, that one from Oscar Piastri. Fighting talk, especially going into 2025. Absolutely fantastic. And let's talk about Carlos Sainz ending his career with 25 podiums, the 9th most in the team's history. He's ahead of people like Gerhard Berger, Eddie Irvine, Jean Alesi, and Clay Regazzoni. We will not forget you. No, they won't. Carlos Sainz finishing second on the road. I don't think he could have done anything more. But Charles Leclerc starting, 19th and finishing third. I mean, he was up to P12 after the first lap. Yes, there was disaster at the first lap for Red Bull with Max Verstappen's, let's be fair, silly move on Oscar Piastri, as we mentioned. And then Sergio Perez becoming a victim. Is this the last race we've seen Sergio Perez in? Who knows? This was the final top 10 of the season then. A stunning victory by Lando Norris. A really solid drive by Carlos Sainz, pushing Lando pretty much all the way until the last few laps, where he started to tail off a bit. And then an amazing drive by Charles Leclerc from 19th. Also an amazing drive by Lewis Hamilton in 4th, which we'll get into. 5th, George Russell. 6th was Max Verstappen. 7th, Pierre Gasly. 8th, Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas. Well done, Gasly and Hülkenberg. Fernando Alonso in 9th. Oscar Piastri recovering to take that 10th place. But, well, I mean, yeah, everyone there pretty much, I think, apart from Max Verstappen, had a really, really good race. Max, I think maybe his car was damaged or something, a bit of a meh, but then he did cause his own problems. This is the race classification. So if you're looking for 11th, just outside the points was Albon, and then we had Tsunoda in 12th, Zhou in 13th, 14th Stroll, 15th Doohan, 16th Magnussen. Sadly, Lawson retired nearish the end. Bottas as well, sad to see his. That could have been his last race. Colapinto and Paris, and it probably was Magnussen's last race, who sadly finished 16th. I mean, yeah, it is sad, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest, it is. It is slightly upsetting. So let's get into the other big story. Goodbye Hamilton, at least for Mercedes, how it started. I Autosport came up with this. I thought it was such a fantastic drawing with Lewis Hamilton there looking up at his number 44 Mercedes. That would have been the Mercedes from 2023, I think. It looks like, but yeah, number 44. So when we actually look at Hamilton, his stats: 153 podiums, 84 wins, 6 championships. I mean, Hamilton, and in a total of what was 245 races for Mercedes. Fantastic from Lewis Hamilton. Absolutely legendary. The GOAT, potentially. This is the difference between Lewis Hamilton and George Russell in their fight over the course of the last 3 years. 22, 23 and 24. So George does have more poles. More poles and wins. I mean, Hamilton's got 2 wins. George has 3. Arguably nearly 4 because of that Belgium. Having said that, I think Hamilton arguably got the most impressive win at Silverstone. But 1 pole for Lewis, that was in Hungary. And 5 poles for George Russell. Podiums, 19 Hamilton leads to 15. Points, this is the close one, because both of them were on the same amount of points going into the race, as we mentioned. And now, Lewis Hamilton on 695. 695 for George Russell, 697 for Lewis. Head-to-head races, 33-34 in favour of George. In quali, 28-39 in favour of George. Sprint wins, 1-0 in favour of George. Sprint, 12-3 head-to-heads. Yeah, Hamilton's never been good at it. I don't know. Standings, 2-1. George beat him this year, but then Hamilton's got a slightly more percentage of the team's points, but sadly no championships for either of them. And there we go, how it began and how it ended for Lewis Hamilton. What an absolutely amazing career he's had at Mercedes. I don't think anyone can do any better. I think the only guy that's got a chance of doing better, arguably, is Verstappen at Red Bull if it continues. But going into 2025, the way he drove today, not great, but we know we know Verstappen's going to come back and be amazing again. But is that Red Bull car going to come back and be amazing again? That's probably a chat for another day. And this is Lewis Hamilton. This is Lewis Hamilton hugging his, soon-to-be former boss, Toto Wolff. I think they are close. I think 2021 brought them closer. It's just really sad that they didn't understand the car enough to get that 8th title. But imagine if Lewis gets that 8th title with Ferrari. He will be a legend for all time, won't he? I mean, yeah, look at that. It's just lovely to see. I just want to say, well done, Lewis Hamilton. Well done, Lewis Hamilton. Well done, Toto Wolff. As Murray says, well done, everybody. As we are now getting into our winners and losers of the race. So we're going to go into reverse order as we look at it. So, who finished last? Well, I forgot. This man here, Sergio Perez, finishes last. Not his fault, though, at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But what is his fault is the fact that he cost, I think, you can make an argument, as I keep saying, he arguably cost Red Bull single-handedly the Constructors' Championship. Finally. Which means all those hard-working Red Bull boys will not get their bonus. But I don't blame Sergio Perez I blame Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, and the Red Bull senior management for not getting rid of him after the summer break. The issue is, who would they have put in the car? And that's the thing. Who is going to replace Perez? I'm assuming when you look at the stories, he is going to be replaced. He's going to be Liam Lawson. But then Liam Lawson, as much as I like him, he hasn't done the business, I think, against Yuki Tsunoda. And therein lies the issue. Having said that, Red Bull do have the data More than I have here. So maybe they've seen something that we haven't. Possibly. So Colapinto is next. And yeah, not necessarily his fault. His car was a bit damaged. They had to retire the car. There was something fundamentally wrong with the car. But you can't help but feel a bit sorry for this guy. I do. I mean, he retired from what could have been his last Formula One race. He was all the rage. People were talking about him after the first couple of races. And it shows recency bias, doesn't it? Because everyone was like, this guy's going to Red Bull. There are rumours that Christian Horner had gone to the Williams, the Williams motorhome to talk about it. It didn't happen, did it? It didn't happen. I mean, yeah, sad for Colapinto. But next up, we've got this man here who starred and stunned in qualifying in Q3 for the first time this year, 9th, and he goes and he's out as well with what was a bit of a silly move that kind of destroyed his car. Big rumours that he's going to Mercedes though for next year to be their reserve driver. I couldn't think of a better place for him. Well done, Liam Lawson. He got a good start. Better than Tsunoda, let's be fair, but I think that's down to Tsunoda's car. The big question is, has Liam Lawson done enough to justify his position at the Red Bull team? I don't think he has. But, as I said, Red Bull have the data. I would love to see him in that Red Bull team. That's just me, without putting my bias hat on. But, I don't know. It's interesting. How can you not give Yuki Tsunoda a try? That's the issue there. The facts speak for themselves as far as we see, as I keep saying, unless they have some kind of data that we don't know about. I felt sorry for this guy here, Magnussen, in probably his last ever Grand Prix. Finishes 16th, but let's be fair, what an end to the season he has. He has starred in many a role. Brilliant. Mick Doohan, I don't have a picture of him. He was solid, if not unspectacular. Not spectacular, but fairly solid in his rookie. Didn't do anything silly. He did okay, I guess. So next up, we have everyone's favourite son, Lance Stroll, who finished 14th the lap down. Moving on, I guess. Lance Stroll did okay. Bearing in mind how bad that Aston Martin is. That's Lance Stroll, everybody. Finishing 14th in 13th. And once again, possibly his last race is Zhao Guanyu. Solid-ish race, unspectacular, unlike the race we had in Qatar. It'll be sad to see him go. The Chinese Grand Prix has been extended though, so fingers crossed, maybe we'll see him again in a race. Big rumours that he was going to Ferrari. That hasn't really been reconfirmed of late at the time of recording, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this one. Same with this guy. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to be in Formula 1 next year, but is it going to be the Red Bull team or is it going to be the RB team? Many people are saying Liam Lawson is going to be with the Red Bull team. So you've got to feel a bit sorry for Yuki Tsunoda, but this arguably, I think, in terms of his maturity, etc., it's been his best year so far. Has it been Albon's best year? No. Mistakes. Remember Australia as well, and then not been able to start in Brazil, albeit that was in the wet when he had that big crash. Yeah, we've seen a flawed Alex Albon compared to his absolutely perfect year in 2023. Is that because the pressure was on? I don't know. When he had that crash in Australia, people were talking about him replacing Perez in Red Bull for next year. And then came Franco Colapinto, and then when the pressure was on, the mistakes happened. But a solid, just outside the point of Qatar, a solid race, I think, for Albon, as good as you're going to get. This guy here, he finished 10th. Yes, he had that whoopsie-daisy against Max Verstappen, not his fault. Definitely more Max Verstappen's fault. But then he had that whoopsie-daisy against Colapinto that ultimately probably finished Colapinto's race off. But a really solid race, I think. Bear in mind he then had a 10-second penalty as well as spinning to the back, and the fact he finished 10th, he never gave up. Really good drive, I think, from Oscar Piastri. And also, it was a really good drive from this guy here, Fernando Alonso. He did a really good job in what, let's be fair, a car that has really just hit that reverse gear for the whole year. Not good at all, but 9th. Nico Hülkenberg is up next and finishing 8th. Really sad he couldn't keep his 4th place, but rules are rules. It was his own fault, wasn't it? Bit silly there from Hülkenberg. He's only got himself to blame for that, but Yes, he did. Yes, he didn't finish ahead of the Alpine, but what a solid finish, nonetheless, for Hulkenberg in 8th. No, Pierre Gasly's next up. He's the next person we're going to be talking about. And you've got to say, with Alpine, they've had a stunning end to the season, haven't they? They've done really well. Getting that double podium in Brazil, for example, that really boosted them up into that championship. Finishing 7th here as well. Had quite good defence against George Russell. Really good defence against George Russell in the beginning of the race. Then just kind of gave up of that defence. I'm not sure what that was about. But anyway, well done, Pierre Gasly. And the man finishing 6th. I mean, Verstappen, it's not really a position to celebrate. He did turn around, and when he did his 10-second pit stop, it might as well be 20 seconds, or let's do 20 seconds or something. And then he just called the stewards or made the decision idiots, which is not the best thing. To be fair, he did apologise to Oscar Piastri, though. So that's good. Some maturity showed there, but just in the heat of the moment, once again, a classic Verstappen move. It wasn't really on. And a completely justified penalty. Yes, I know they don't normally do penalties at the start when it all gets confusing, etc. But that was just 2 cars going into a corner. There was no one else, and a misjudgment from your 4-time world champion, as Piastri liked to remind a move of a champion. But there we go. I still think that's one of the best radio calls of the year. So the man that beat him is this guy here, George Russell. Well, he didn't do too bad, did he? Initially, for that Mercedes, because he said he was struggling. Kind of. The fact, though, I mean, I say not too bad. The fact he was beaten by Lewis Hamilton will probably be a bit of concern. Bear in mind, Lewis Hamilton started 16th, and then Lewis Hamilton finished 4th. What a drive. No, he hasn't lost it. Even in qualifying, he would have got in had it not been for that bollard, and maybe then we would have had a Hamilton podium, which would have been brilliant. A win, I think, was a bit too far of a stretch. I guess never say never, you never know. But yeah, Lewis Hamilton, despite starting in 16th, no safety car. There was a virtual one initially, right at the beginning, but no actual safety car, and finishing 36 seconds behind the eventual winner, I think is not too bad, and beating a teammate who started, up in the top 10. I don't think that's no mean feat at all. And it may well be something that his teammate is going to raise an eyebrow at, because his teammate for next year is going to be Charles Leclerc. But what a drive from 19th to 3rd. What a first lap. And, in the blink of an eye after the first lap and a couple more, he was 8th. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic from Charles Leclerc. One of the best drives of the season for him. And he's had quite a few good drives as well. Definitely, I think, his best non-win. His best non-win drive. Does that even make sense? I don't know. But yeah, Charles Leclerc. And Carlos Sainz finishing his Ferrari career, off with a podium, signing off in style. Mr. Smooth Operator himself, Carlos Sainz in 2nd. Yeah, he was there. He kept the pressure on Norris. He wasn't as fast. He even said, I think, on the radio, on that cool-down lap, I think they had about a 10th over us. Yeah. And that's kind of fair, really. That's probably exactly where they were. So well done, Carlos Sainz. But the man of the hour is Lando Norris. An absolutely stunning drive. He got a good start. He kept the lead. He didn't do anything silly like he did in Singapore. He arguably best car driver combination of the weekend. But all it would have taken is one little mistake, one little slip in the pit stops by the McLaren boys as well, and it all would have been over for McLaren as a Constructors champion. So congratulations, Lando Norris. Absolutely amazing. I am so... we're all of us here are very happy at the hot lap. So there we go. That is our last race review. In terms of winners and losers, etc. We'll probably have a rundown of who the best of the season are. These are the things that you kind of expect. But once again, a massive congratulations to McLaren, who are the 2024 Constructors World Champions. If you want to see more, please give us a subscribe. That would be great. If you made it to the end, you are a world champion in ours. If you made it to the end and hit that subscribe button or hit that like or comment below, letting us know what you think. You are a multiple world champion. Stay safe, and we will speak to you soon. This is where I once again pressed the wrong button. Okay, stay safe and speak to you soon. Take 2.